Hi guys, hello guys. As you could see from the individual playlist setup, we are going through the entirety of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. This is a remake of the original classic trilogy of Mario 3D games that many people remember were some of the most popular Mario games ever created. In this playthrough, I'm going to be 100%ing all three Mario games, starting in numerical order with Super Mario 64. I've recently 100%ed this on the Wii Virtual Console version. However, I've not been able to play the original version for quite some time. It has been remade in course, new 3D graphics for everyone, with pretty much everything returning from the initial game. And I'll try and talk about more as I go along. There is a bit of a problem with it that I have. Well, particularly Super Mario Sunshine, I have not actually beaten all the way to 100%, so unfortunately it'll probably be a while before I 100% that game, so just a fair share of warning, I'm not good at any of these games. I have beaten them, and I could definitely do it, but it may take me a little bit longer than usual. So with that said, let's get started with our playthrough of Super Mario 64. To keep it simple, each game was going to be its own series of videos. Peach with her good one of the only times Peach actually has voice acting in the entire Mario series. I'm surprised that doesn't happen much. It was actually brought back in Galaxy too, which I think is really cool. Don't know why they don't have enough of it. Strangely, if you were to play the Japanese version, there's no voice acting for Peach at all. It was actually added in when the English version came out. Okay, so now let's actually start the game. Like I said before, I have already beaten this on the Wii U Virtual Console since I'm pretty familiar with it. You've reached Trench's Toadstool's Castle via Warp Pipe. Using the controller as a piece of cake. Press B to jump and Y to attack. Press A to resigns 2. Use the left stick to move Mario around. Now head for the castle. There's lots of combos you can do, like the standing punch, and my personal favorite, if you run and press B at the same time, that's actually a wrong button. Okay, there it is. If you press L2 on this classic controller I use, and then press B within a few seconds, if you're on a good slope, Mario will do a lawn jump. This is by far the fastest way of moving around for the game, and if you've watched a speedrun in this game, you've seen a lot of it. Anyways, good afternoon, the Lackady Bros here, reporting live just from outside the Princess Peach's castle. Mario's just arrived on the scene and will be filming the action right as he enters the castle and pursues the missing Power Stars. As a seasoned cameraman, we'll be shooting from the recommended angle, but you can change the angle with right stick. If we can't adjust any further, we'll buzz. To take a look at the surroundings, stop and tilt right forward. Press B to resume play, switch or modes with the R button. Signs along the way will review the instructions. And yeah. That cutscene can actually be skipped if you do a very specific timing. Didn't really miss much there. Bowser already knowing that Mario's in here, telling him to go and scram, but we're obviously not going to do that. So, we're starting out with the first... We may as well go ahead and start with the star that everyone gets, just to keep it as close as possible. Now, a little bit of a warning, I won't always be doing the stars in linear order. I actually have a specific route that I'm going to take. So, stars may be done out of intended order occasionally, so I'm not going to do the stars in the individual orders. I'll just be doing them as they appear. Obviously, since it's been a while since I played Mario 64, I've decided to take the most easiest route up to the Bomb-On Battlefield, just to make it simpler. There's no reason to collect any coins right now. However, later, if we collect 100 coins, we can get an extra star from that. But we have to wait until later to do that. So anyways, get up to the top, and we meet our first boss. I'm the big bomb, lord of all the blasting matter, king of kabooms the world over. How dare you scale my mountain, but what right do you set foot on my imperial mountaintop? You may have eluded my guards, but you'll never escape my grasp, and you'll never take my power star away. I hereby challenge you, Mario. If you want Star Io, you must prove yourself in battle. Can you pick me up from the back and hurl me to this royal turf? I think that you cannot. This guy, not really much of a challenge here. Just walk up behind him and punch him. Can be kind of tricky to do. And then you press it again, and then he goes down. Now you do have to wait for him to charge at you, because if you go too early, he'll actually turn around more. So, yeah. There is a way to backflip behind him and get him defeated even sooner, but if you go too early, by the way, he will actually turn even faster, so I'm purposely waiting for him to turn around, or at least start moving towards me. Allows me to defeat him really quick. Can't be that pixie like you is defuse the bomb, King. You might be fast enough to ground me, but you'll have to pick up the pace if you want to take King Bowser by the tail. Methinks my troops could learn a lesson for you. Here's your star as I promised, Mario. To see me again, select the star from the menu. For now, farewell. So he essentially told us that you don't necessarily have to just go for individual stars. You can choose to go for stars you've already collected. So that is definitely a fun thing. And that just told us that we've gotten a power star, so now we've unlocked a couple of new moves. Before we do anything else, we're gonna actually do what one of the controls said and talk to this bomb. He's silly bomb, so we don't use cannons. But if you like to bash off, we don't mind. Help yourself. We prepared all of the cannons in this course for you to use. Bon voyage. We can't actually use it in this mission, though. Otherwise, it would not work, so we will be able to use it later. Now, we're not going to actually do that. Just so I can show off one of the game's major mechanics. You don't necessarily have to collect the stars in order. If you know exactly how to collect a star, then it's possible for you to collect it out of order if you know how to do it. There are some stars that take a while to spawn. While most stars can only be spawned by having one certain star appear, there's possible that one or stars may be visible via something else. So in this case, I'm gonna actually attempt here very quickly to ground pound this post 3 times, and which I was able to do a lot better. I've had trouble with that. And you see, we are actually able to get this star, even though it's technically not listed. So that just proves that you can literally do the stars in whatever order you want. I've seen too many beginner playthroughs just do the linear path, and it gets really boring after a while. So now we're coming up to the part I mentioned where I'm probably going to do a little bit of a trick. Rather than trying to go through and do a lot of other stars, I'm actually going to go straight to Whomp's Fortress and stay there until all 7 stars are collected. Because, obviously, since it's 100%, we have to gather all the stars, so the most straightforward way of doing that is to collect all 7 stars in one little bit of a playthrough. This is one of the only levels, too, that does not require a power-up to do, so naturally we'll do that. And key 2, once again, really telling us about the camera works. The camera works, but we don't really want to show that, so... Oh, jeez. Okay. My camera... I keep on mixing the camera, but my biggest problem with this save is keeping on mixing the camera button up with the actual movement button, which makes things a little bit tricky. But as you can see, you don't necessarily have to take the intended path. If you know Mario's big moves, especially his lawn jump and glide, you can skip lots of things, including waiting for this, and just go straight to the top. But as far as I know, this is the the most straightforward route for here, so I'll be taking that. And we'll be getting these 2 regular stars first, because when I tried to do the speedrun strategy to get one of the stars, it didn't work really well, so in order to do that, we have to defeat this boss. It makes me so mad. We build your houses, your castles, we pave your roads, and you still walk all over us. Say thank you? No. Well, you're not going to wipe your feet on me. I think I'll crush you just for fun. Do you think you have a problem with that? Just try to pound me, whip. Okay. So we have to pound him on the back 3 times to kill him. There's a little bit of an error trick I'm not going to actually show off because I'm not sure if it got fixed, but in the original version of the game, if you use your pound button to pound him, and you start your ground pound in midair right as he attempts to crush you, they actually didn't program that correctly, so you'll actually ground pound through the Womp King and damage him. And it's actually pretty easy to do. Since we're not playing the original version, I don't even want to test that out, as that would be silly to lose to him, so we'll just go ahead and pick up that star and move on. And that message is just saying we've opened some more courses, nothing really different. Continuing on now. Now, there are a lot of things that prevent you from doing stuff. Speaking of which, that's another way to get up to the top. That top route that you see below is the usual path the game wants you to take, but if you know how to move it, it's pretty easy to skip over. Speaking of which, let's try and do a double jump over here to skip that. See, just like I told you, you can skip that. Be careful though, there's lots of difficult starting in this level and a little bit later. There are lots of ways for us to die. Despite Mario having a lot of 3D movement in this game, it's still pretty easy to die in this game, and the farther you get into the game, the harder it becomes. There are some stars in particular that are absolutely brutal and take a very long time to do that. Obviously, I don't want to make too many mistakes just rushing around like a speedrunner, so since it's been a while, I'm just gonna pick them up normally. Just making sure I don't fall off, because I've tried to rush before and it's not good. So once we clear these 2 courses, we're able to do a couple of extra stuff. So while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and open the cannons for the first part. And do that, and also we found an owl, which we will talk about later, but anyways, we're gonna actually not necessarily do the star that we want. We're going to still talk to the Bomb though, but we're not going to do this star. I'm actually going to do something completely different. I will, however, do this star if I happen to mess up this next part, but beyond that, I'm basically going to do this setup. So, as you might have guessed it, I'm not actually going for the mission that the game intends me to do. I'm actually doing the 100 coins mission. So, similar to how you can collect stars from collecting other stuff, there are 2 other ways to earn a star as well. If you collect the 8 red coins scattered about any level, you will get a star from that. If you combine that with collecting 100 coins on any mission, so your record is at a minimum of 100 or higher, it is possible for you to get a lot of coins out of the deal. And if you manage to actually collect 100 coins at any point during a mission, a star will pop up right in front of you just like that, not even dealing with our stuff. To actually get that though, we need a lot of coins, and one of the best ways to do this is to sneak up to this piranha plant at literally the right spot and punch him. Though, there is actually a better way to do this. But if you remembered before, there is a dash we could do by pressing the Y button while we're moving. If we run and dash at the specific time, which I was able to do on my first try surprisingly, we could just kill him like that. It's actually a lot easier than doing the sneak strat. Because the intended way of dealing with them is to walk up to them very, very, very slowly to not wake them up, and then immediately pound on them to kill them. Okay, that's not good. Falling down. The worst part is sometimes the camera can be very uncooperative. So just like that, we've lost our 5 coin thing, but I honestly don't care. You're only really truly required to kill one plant in general to get the other stuff. The second one isn't always necessary. In fact, I believe the speedrun usually skips it. Okay. Now, I did lose a couple of coins, so as an extra safety, I'm going to get a total of 10 coins from one mob to make up the difference, and then I'm going to collect my remaining coins on the ledge. It's also where I'm going to pick up a lot of red coins. Barely making it back. Okay, so we're going to trick this guy into jumping. Then we're going to do this. 1, 2, 3 to get some coins out of him. We're going to count exactly 5 on this one, which is essentially 4. And, I nearly had it. There's a way you can get all 5 coins and pound them at the same time. That was weird. He didn't even pound at all. That just makes up for the difference that I wasn't able to do. Okay, well, now I'm going to actually show you the intended way to get the rest of the coins. Getting the rest of the coins is rather tricky. First, you have to wait for this thing to move, and then you have to pound it like 2 or 3 times in a row. And then after you get it shaking, you essentially want to do a jump kick at it. And if you jump kick enough times, this pole will fall down, allowing you to enter a secret area on the left side. It is possible to reach this via a long jump, but it is pretty difficult for a player to pull off. So as a result of that, I don't recommend doing it on your first playthrough. And now, while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and collect the remaining red coins. Tried to land directly on that, but I was pretty close. I think it's better to not even go for that, because that could be really difficult. Anyways, we're gonna do that, and then for safety, we're gonna run around here before dropping down to the bottom, because if we were to wait too long, it's possible we wouldn't really get much. We can find the 8th coin on the ledge here. It is faster to drop down here, but it's also slightly riskier because potentially push you into something. Thankfully that didn't happen. There's also lots of strange glitches. That wasn't one of them, just sort of a normal mechanic. But anyways, before we do that, we're gonna collect the rest of the 100 coins here, and bam, another star appears just like that. Best way I found to do the 100 coin star is to combine this with the red coin star. Is you have to collect so many of the red coins anyways. It's usually faster to get them all together like that. And just like that, we've gotten 2 stars in 1 level. So I guess for the next star, we're still not going to do the cannon. Instead, we're going to do the owl star that was mentioned before. Climbing to this tree, we spring an owl out, and then if we do that, he will tap us. Woke me up, it's daylight, I should still be sleeping. As long as I'm awake, why not take a short fight with me? Press and hold B to grab on me, release B to let me go. I'll take wherever you want to go. Watch my shadow as you grab on. So if we actually fly up with this guy and then use the arrow pad to move around, we'll see that there's actually a star that could be collected from this. Though it is pretty difficult to get to. Essentially, you want to do this until you're able to drop right onto this island. And then you can essentially drop down at a very specific spot and snag the star. But in that case, I was a little bit too early. So rather than trying to fall early and risk dying, I'll just try again. I could even go for just ignoring him and move on to another spot, but yeah. What you're supposed to do, obviously, is jump down at exactly the right time. The shadow will kind of tell you what to do, and you can snag a free star from that. I don't like what happened there, though, so we're going to go a little bit riskier on this and kind of just yell this and hope for the best. And that's what can happen. It is pretty difficult, so rather than trying to take that star again, we'll save a little bit of time by just going for a wild blue, which is the star we are supposed to get. This one's a little bit simpler, but does have the risk of death. I believe the best way of doing it is to usually go for this pillar right here and then try and bonk off one of the sides. If you're too low, you'll just bonk. If you're in a very terrible spot, it's possible to go through that and not land on the thing directly. And as you can see, the cannon will essentially fire you in any direction you want, but it's pretty difficult to get it right. This is probably the simplest setup I found, is to pound against that pillar on the side, then slide down here, and we get our star with that. It is faster to just snag it from the open, but it is a little bit or harder to do so. And of course, if you're doing the speedrun strategy, there's a strategy where you don't even need the cannon for that star. You could just patched it up. Okay, so now we actually get to the star that tells us about that cage island, in case you didn't already notice. So now we're going to have to try it out until we land. And also that could happen quite a few times. You grab onto him and you don't even get the set. Now I believe if you go with the owl on the first try, usually he'll do a very specific setup that'll allow you to go in. Okay, there we go. We got it on our next try. Thankfully, I didn't take one. Usually, you will not fall to your death there, so it's not too dangerous. However, I have seen some people fall to the point where they've done our stuff. So anyways, now we get to go for one of the more interesting secrets of the game, blast away the wall. This wall, obviously kind of a secret. You go in to use the cannon, and there's actually a star hidden in the wall somewhere, and we could just blast away the wall here to get it turned towards the right. And then if Mario hits his end on a specific spot, it was a little too low, a star will come out. Like I said, you've been warned, this game is quite difficult, so it can be really difficult to get stuff. Interesting enough, that wall also damages Mario, so if you have less than 1 health, you can actually die from that wall if you're not careful. From there, though, once you've broken away the wall, we essentially have to go back through the exact stuff we just did before, only we see now that there's a star on the ledge here. Safest way of doing it is to obviously walk slowly until we drop down on it like that. And there we go. It is also possible to get that star through a wall, but it is very precise. You can watch else if you want to do that. With that, we have all the 6 stars, and also we can talk to Toad here. As we rescue more our stars, the toads will start to appear. If you talk to very specific toads, you can get power stars from them, so it's very important to remember that. Now, we still do not have enough to do much, so rather than dealing with this, we're gonna deal with our first secret star instead. Stars are not necessarily hidden in the actual levels, but in the actual castle. For the first one, we have to jump into the specific page on the right, if we could actually land in there. And we get a slide mission where we have to reach this slide ending as fast as possible. If we manage to do it in under 16 seconds without falling down, we will get a star. Even if we do not get down in time, we can break a block to immediately get the star. I forget what the cutoff is. I think, as far as I remember, yeah, it's around there, like 20.2 seconds or something. If you're 21 seconds, you won't actually get it. Strangely enough, I was able to do that on my first try. Now, doing that unlocks a secret here. And if we go into Mario Cam for this secret, we can look up to the top, and that spawns us in a whole new level altogether. So I'm going to read this since it's been a while. So this is the wing cap. It's the iconic power of this game. Step on the red switch on the top of the tower in the center of the red wing. When you trigger all of the red blocks you find will become solid. Try out the wing cap. To do the triple jump, to take off, and press ZL to land. pull back on the left analog stick and tilt forward to nose down. Just as you would when flying an airplane. This is one of the most difficult stars in the game because obviously it doesn't go through the regular controls. You have to essentially control it like an airplane. My least favorite in particular part about this is these 2 coins on the top. If you don't grab them right away, it can be rather tough to get through. Essentially what you have to do is essentially control Mario down in such a way where you can get all of the 8 coins quickly before taking too long. And believe me, this is a lot harder than it looks, and I've actually ran out of it, but I was at least able to get to the power-up, so we'll go ahead and press this. You stepped on the wing cap switch. Wearing the wing cap, you can now soar for the sky. Now all the wing caps will pop out all the red box you find. They will. So now we can essentially use the power-up whenever we wish. However, we haven't gotten the actual thing done yet, so we have to do that. So we'll show the original way to take off, which is essentially a triple jump and allowing us to go up to the top. You can take off many times if you have enough attempts to do so, but it is really difficult to do so. I really do not like controlling this power-up. As you might have guessed, it's very hard to get those coins once you've missed, so the only reliable way to try again is to, if you failed, nosedive down at the start of the ledge, and you can start doing this. And this is the part I mentioned where fails can come in really quickly. You'd think for a tutorial level it'd be not that hard, but it's a lot harder than you think. Like, actually getting these coins is pretty precise, and there's an even faster strategy that makes it even harder to get. The worst is when you miss one, because I believe in the terms of the actual coins, you can only miss one set before having to redo the entire level again. The particular thing that most people hate is if you do not tilt down enough, you don't really get much momentum, but there we go. On our second try, which is much better than my last few attempts, we were able to get the star spawned here. Obviously, I do not want to fall off like some people do, so we'll just take it and move on. And with that, we are done with that. Also, it's only a few minutes into the game, with only a couple of minutes still remaining, and we already have enough stars to take on the first Bowser door. Only 8 stars are required to get in here, so to finish off part of the episode, we will go in here. And into the fight we go. This is where the game gets much more difficult. You stepped right into my trap, just as I knew you would. I warn you, friend, watch your step. Now we enter arguably one of the hardest level sets in the entire game, the Bowser levels. The Bowser levels are very chaotic and are quite a bit difficult compared to the regular levels, essentially requiring you to do a lot of better strategies to actually get through all the coins. And the worst part of this level in particular comes right at the beginning, where you have to collect 2 blocks rather quickly, while also trying to dodge a flame. These levels are very difficult, as you're generally forced to rush through a lot of the platforming to get to a lot of the spots, rather than trying to go slow, and it can be very difficult sometimes, and very many people have died here. It is some of the most difficult part, and is also where the game's true difficulty comes from. And you should not ever taunt that Bowser in the Sky is the easy of this. Like, honestly, all of the levels are rather difficult. Essentially, one mistake in any of these levels kills you. As a beginner we are going to go as slow as possible to make sure we don't die. There's so many ways to die. Like, these Goombas are able to knock you over. You can get caught by these electric bells. So many things can happen. The easiest way of doing this is to only go when you need to, and you should always be planning your next move before you go somewhere. Like, if you ever rush too much, it's possible to die very easily. These levels in particular, you definitely want to rotate the camera if you haven't already known how to do that, because that will help you out a lot. Without that, it'll be very difficult to traverse through this level, so... I've mentioned how turning the camera could be quite useful in previous times, but in this level in particular, it's just really to... Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and kill you so you're not in the way later. But yeah. Obviously, it is possible to go faster, but just think of it this way. You don't want to rush, because one mistake is instant death. Because the entire area of this area is surrounded by the pit. It's crazy that this is only the first boss level and we're already into some of the hardest platforming in the game. I have tried to rush this before and died, so obviously for the playthrough I'm playing it very careful. Now we get to probably my least favorite part, the seesaws. Before we deal with them though, we have to go through and do a couple of other stuff. And although this probably isn't necessary, I'm mostly killing these guys just to get them out of the way. So, we're gonna carefully get this. Again, remember to turn the camera a lot. Without it, you'll have a very difficult time doing this level. Okay. I think I actually will do better if I go from the top here, so I'll go ahead and do this, and we actually have to do a long jump to reach this, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do the intended strat from here. Jump on the seesaw, and then backflip up to spot, or I guess I could just triple jump, maybe. Oh wait, no. Never mind. Looks like it could only get me up to here. Never mind! Looks like we're gonna have to long jump all the way across this. Sorry if I'm shaking a little bit, but this is a very scary level. Ugh, didn't even reach it. There. Oh, that's what I was worried about. See, just like I mentioned, one mistake, and now we have to do that entire thing over again from the scratch. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the hardest levels of the game, so I'm not surprised. Once you lose the ability to go really fast, that's when you usually lose concentration. I'm gonna go for the hard one first, just so I don't have to deal with it later, but it is possible to die to the other one as well. And... okay, we got that one out of the way. This is my least favorite one, just because of the way you're supposed to get this is kind of tricky. There is a way to do that without taking damage, but just the way it's set up, taking damage is usually safer, but not necessarily fully safe either. And yes, like, after all that time we spent going for the setup, you do all of that, and then there's one trocane right at the end. It's not even hidden in, like, the hardest spot either, but it's just in a spot where it's just so annoying. And just like I mentioned before, one mistake is death in this level. It's absolutely brutal. I don't think I've ever done this level without dying at least once, because in my regular playthrough I died quite a bit. I have gotten through it without collecting the red coins, but I've never gotten them all on my first try without dying. It's very difficult. It takes lots of practice. Again, though, once you learn to be safe, it's not as hard. Like, if we were just doing a regular 70-star run, this would not be as difficult, because we wouldn't really be getting the red coin star here. The most difficult part I find is that I remember there's a specific slope in one of these spots that could often screw you up, which is why I jump here to get back onto the right. Even though I could choose not to, it's just that there's lots of strange physics in this game, particularly the slopes. Okay, this is what I'm probably gonna try and use to get onto the top, a backflip. Let's see if that works. Or even better, I think there's actually an even better way of doing this. Maybe I could just jump up there from the top. Actually, wait, that is way better. That sounds way better than the other strategy we did. Let's try that. Yeah, see, just as I thought. That whole ledge that was set up is essentially a troll ledge. It looks like you could get to it from a long jump, but you actually can't. I'm gonna take... Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna take the safest way, but I'm also gonna not take the risky way either. What I am gonna do is drop down here to collect the 8th coin, just to save the time of having to go for those enemies. And again, rotate the camera. Go ahead and kill these guys, because they can still knock you off. I've seen some people die to these guys, and it's not fun. So we gotta make sure we kill them. There's also still a lot of slopes that can happen, so if you're not ready for it, you can still die pretty easily. You can even die after collecting the star, too. We're obviously just gonna walk up to it. And there we go! Now we never have to deal with the red coins in this level ever again. Thankfully, the other 2 levels will probably not be as difficult, but they are more longer, though. Alright, so now we have Bowser here. Tough luck, Mario. Princess Toadstool isn't here. Go ahead, just try and grab me by the tail. You'll never be able to swing me around. A wimp like you will throw me out of here. Never. Which essentially tells you how we're supposed to defeat him. There are ways to pick him up faster, though usually the intended strategy is to wait for him to spit out flames, which stuns him long enough for you to do that. But in this first round, it's not really that difficult, so we just spin until we attack. Now, I will admit, I do not like the initial phase of this, because as you might have guessed, Mario's best phrase, "So long, D. Bowser," is completely missing from this game. In case you didn't know. And what replaces it is the DS version where he just says bye-bye, which is not quite as fun as "So long, D. Bowser." It's kind of sad that they removed that, but it is. Grr, I was a bit careless. This is not how I had planned, but I still hold the power of the stars, and I still have Peach. You'll get no more stars from me. I'm not finished with you yet, but I'll let you go for now. You'll pay for this later. So we have vanquished Bowser already. But as you can see, he's not going to be fully dead yet. He has, however, left us this key, which allows us to continue to the area. We are not going to continue to that area in this video, because I still have quite a couple of levels to 100%. However, I still will not be able to 100% all of them, so inevitably we'll be forced into that area. But for safeties, I'm going to do the next part of my individual route, which, in this case, takes us to Cool Mountain, the 4th level in the game, and also where things start getting a little bit more difficult. This is where the regular levels start having random death spots throughout the entire game. And because I'm in this level, I'm deciding to start with probably one of arguably the worst coin set lists to get. Red coins into the 100 coin mission into Slippery Slide. Now, it is faster to do this with a completely different mission called the Pagan Race, but for obvious reasons, it is very difficult to do that. So, the safest way I found of doing the 100 coins is to just, at the very start of the round, essentially go into the slide early on like this, and complete it to make the star spawn, but we're not actually going to pick it up. Instead, we're going to actually just collect all the coins in it, which will allow us to get to 100, and you can see there are a ton of coins here. And yeah. That's usually not a spot where I die, though. There's usually a worser spot than that, but that is why we go in the slide early, because obviously slides are not fun. They kill you. What's even more stupid is there's an even harder mission than that makes you do the slide at least twice. And I died on the easy version, of course, where you just have to make it to the end. Because, yeah, again, like I said, I haven't played this in a while. So while Cool Mountain looks nice at first, it's not as fun as it first seems, as you can see. There's multiple ways to die, and there's even a shortcut, but we're not going to take it any of the times, because obviously that shortcut holds no coins for us whatsoever. Now, in order to make this work good, we need to really collect all the coins here. But anyway, so there we go. Just by doing that, we already have 77 of the 100 coins required. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do everything using that, so we'll start by collecting the red coins in the individual area that are really close by us, and then immediately after that, teleport to the top. At the top is where we'll get our next spots. Speaking of which, though, we do want to also kind of leave one of the coins around here. Oh, wait. I probably shouldn't have done it with that. You know what? I might just do it with a tree one on top, since that's easier. Or I think there's a blue coin mission that'll do it as well. But anyways, it is possible to get this later. I'm doing it now because obviously it's the worst star combination, and it's probably one that everyone has problems with it. You can get it during the penguin race, which essentially lets you collect 20 coins, then enter the penguin race, and essentially get the penguin race star with it, but it's not recommended. So anyways, to get the rest of the coins, we have to go down a series of slides, combining the initial setups, and during the slides, we want to click up all the coins it's except for a little bit, then stop on this nearby ledge, and we can ground pound it to reveal one exact coin we can pick up, and bam. They have gotten a 100 coin star. So now if we die, we do not have to worry about dealing with this, but we should probably still get the slide star. Obviously, since the slide star is one of the longest stars, we do want to get it out of the way as soon as possible, so we'll just dive here down into the snow. Because this is a snowy level, you don't take fall damage when you land here. You just kind of plop in the snow and then plop back out, which is kind of cool. And just like that, we've already collected 2 stars in one go. And with that done, the actual difficult part of this level begins. There are hard parts everywhere. It's kind of crazy that just the 4th level already has so many difficult stuff. And because I don't like this level, we're gonna do a little bit of a trick. The game intends you to take this penguin all the way around to the wrong side, but if I do an extra trick correct, it's possible to get him to the side a little bit quicker. Since I have a lot of lives and I've done it, I'm gonna go ahead and show it. So what you want to do is essentially head down this side here and drop down to here, and then do this. Jump on the right side and go to the left, and it's only 1 minute into the game and you already have the penguin all the way to the right side. Now, it is possible that can get stuck in many locations, but essentially by doing this, we've gotten him straight to the end right away, which gets a lot of content. And the penguin is, of course, happy with us, so he gives us an star. Now, as silly as it is, we still can't get one of the extra stars later, so just because I hate the penguin race, we're actually going to do the red coin mission next, just for fun. Even though we could do the race, technically right now, I want to take a little break. So before we do that, we're going to actually collect the red coins. The red coins in this area are pretty devious and are hidden in some pretty terrible locations, to say the least. If you're not ready for them, it can definitely be a problem. So we already collected one of them there. To get the second one, we'll jump back up to the top where we went off earlier, except this time we're actually going to cross it all the way to the end to attain a second star. There are other ways of doing this. This is just the easiest way I found. And now for probably the tough part. Now that we've done this, we still have to collect a couple of coins back. So to do this, we have to enter the snowman bridge twice, and once we have to do it backwards. This is a lot tougher than you would initially expect, because if you jump, obviously, you'll fall off, and it's very possible to get hit a lot. Okay, so now we have to walk backwards from this, and by heading all the way here, we find another red coin that was kind of just hiding there. Alright. Now for the fourth coin, this is generally the most difficult one just because, like I said, if you move just a little too much, you could die. As you might have guessed, there's a pit over this level. It's not fun. Pits are never really the fun. You obviously don't want to deal with them. While we could hop over this guy a little bit quicker, hopping over would just get us killed. So rather than dealing with that, we're just gonna let him jump. And then kind of just follow him slowly, and we can just get around that way. We can even take a damage and still make it through. It's not that bad. It is possible to pass him going the other way. Just like I said though, I'm playing it safe, because it could be really difficult. And now we have... Okay, and now you see there's other enemies as well. So by taking out that eye, we kind of get into a little spin here, which is really funny. And then we get to get some more coins, because yes. Alright. So we're gonna go over here and collect this red coin, and then this red coin. Anyway. I do not remember where the 8th red coin is. I do remember it was on some kind of weird conspicuous edge, but I guess while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and go up here. I think this is where the 8th red coin is, but even if it isn't, there's a bomb that we need to get at right here. Hi, I'll prepare to cannon you. So now at least if we die, we have a way to at least cannon up, which is good. We're gonna actually use this time to take a look around so I can try and find some stuff. Oh, jeez. Whatever. Oh, great. This is not fun. The biggest problem with this guy is once you get up here using this trick, the only way to get down is by using this to go down, so we have to do another lawn jump. Oh, wait, never mind. I always forget about that. Never mind, there's a breeze! So, all that was mostly to psych you out, as you might have guessed, as that level is not quite, does not quite have as bad of a pit as it seems. If you use that, you can instantly just go back up. Now, unfortunately, you haven't found the 8th red coin, so we're gonna unfortunately have to go back and do the slide thing again. Now, the last one that I know of, at least that I know that is a confirmed one, is actually even more secret than before, so once again we're gonna have to jump off the side ramp, but rather than landing on the leftward ledge, glad I remembered this by the way. It's a good thing I also saved it for last too, because I was like forgetting for a second, wait, where's the 8th red car? Wait, no. So yeah, falling down that same ledge where we used to transport the penguin, we find a little bit of a trick that we were able to get to, and then that spawns a star on the other ledge, which we have to, of course, lawn jump to get to it. And I don't want to wait too long, so let's try this, and sure enough, we can actually get up there. Thankfully, there is another way up there. It's actually pretty easy, not really too difficult. So, to get that, we have to do the same thing we did for coin 2, except instead of jumping down from the left side, we now have to go down from there. And just to warn, I'm not cutting any of this out, so you can see all the fails live. But I am also going slow to make sure I don't mess up as much, because I'd rather have good videos rather than ones where people listen to all the time. No offense, it's just, this is a hard game. It's very easy to die. So we've gotten that, and we no longer have to worry about that star. So with that, we can move into two of probably some of the tougher stars in the game. Actually, 3 of them. One straight up annoying and forces a reset if you don't do it. And we're starting with probably the most annoying of them all, the penguin race. Just because, while it's easy to win, it is very are to stay on the slide, so you'll be taking a lot of shortcuts to get through it. And it's kind of interesting that we've raced this guy before Koopa the Quick. But beyond that, though, this race essentially functions like Koopa the Quick, where if you get too far ahead of Koopa by using a cannon, or in this case, the shortcut, the penguin will actually call you a cheater and you'll actually lose. So the only way to beat him is to go down the path normally. That's why I'm not able to show the secret. But anyways, of course, we're able to do this one on the first try because it's not really that hard. It's just annoying to do fast. You broke my record. I knew you were the coolest. Now that you've proven you're also the fastest. I can't award you gold medal, but take this here star instead. You've earned it. Nice. This is probably the most difficult one. Particularly in a speedrun, this star is really difficult because you basically use a specific coin count to essentially spawn the 100 coin star backwards on that spot that we just passed, you know, with the icicles at the end with 15 coins. Well, you actually have to spawn the 100 coin star there and go backwards for it. Obviously, if you miss that jump, you die, and I don't like doing that, so that's why I've dealt with that. And now we go over to probably my least favorite star in this entire thing. The fifth one's just annoying. This one is even worser. This is the wall kicks will work star, and for the fun of it, I'm going to show off the intentional strategy, which is very brutal and filled to the gap with lots of stuff. If you do not know how to do it right, it is possible that you can use a win strategy to get through there a little bit quicker, but beyond that, it's a little bit hazy. And just for fun, we're not going to take any shortcuts, because screw that. So, just like we've done before, we've gone down to the bridge. If we do any retries, we're probably going to just take the teleporter to get down here sooner. I'm not sure why I even went down the slide at first, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and take this red coin while I'm at it to get some health back, because coins do heal you. Okay, now for probably my least favorite part before the second hardest part, which is the actual trick. It's getting the CAD shots. It seems silly, like, why would a CAD shot be so difficult? It is a lot more difficult. Miss anywhere slightest to the right, and it's instant death just like that. This level is really brutal. But now we've gotten here, we have to essentially avoid a series of enemies. There's quite a few ways to do this. I recommend just jumping over them. Don't even have to deal with them. And then you'll see there's a gap that we aren't able to cross, which actually tests our ability to lawn jump here. So let's do this. Okay, we got through that. That's probably the last annoying part, though it is still annoying. Okay, so now we get to learn a new tech. As you can see, by jumping off a wall and then pressing B right as we hit a wall, we can do a wall kick. This is where my least favorite part comes into play, as you have to land on this exact spot up here in order to do this star properly. While it seems kind of easy at first, it is very brutal, to say the least. And we actually go in Mario Cam for here, just because, obviously, this ice path is not the funnest, so we want to at least go for that part with the Mario Cam. You can do it without it, but it's just really difficult. And obviously you can't really grab the wedge here, so yeah. I've had so many times where I've just fallen down countless of times, and I've died on the part before that at least twice in my first playthrough. It was not fun. Like, I did 2 playthroughs of this, like I said, on the virtual console releases. And on my 70-star playthrough, I died a lot on this level. It was annoying. And now we have this guy. I need a good head on my shoulders. Do you know anybody in need of a good body? Please, I'll follow you if you do. This is a very brutal battle, because that can happen. Now, the big importance with this level and why it's so annoying is that essentially you have to go down the entire area and do stuff by rolling all the way to the right side. If you don't do that, the snowman will just lose stuff. Oh, jeez. Oh, there we go. Okay. I was waiting for that to happen. Each time we fail that, the only way to get the snowman back, since it's only one at a time, is to either enter a separate instance entirely, which is nowhere near what we want, or we have to exit course to bring him back, so... This isn't necessarily Brawl Stars, it's just really annoying, and oh gosh. Best way of actually talking to him is from the side like this, because then you can quickly jump past him to get to the side, but that start is probably the worst thing to do in this game. If you don't slow down at all, you're going to die, and it's not fun. The idea is to essentially stay ahead of them the entire way, otherwise you'll never go down the actual A. And you can see this gets really annoying after a while. Like, after like 3 minutes of doing this, you get really annoyed. And there's not really much to do here. We essentially have to try and get ahead of him right away, otherwise we lose. Once we get to actually get the right start, this is not quite as difficult. It's the beginning that sucks. Like, right there, we just slowed down like crazy. At least I exited a little bit quicker, but beyond that, there's nothing much else to do. I know people have different strategies for setting us up. I'm guessing diving is probably the best way to go, but why risk attacking when I could do something different instead? I think probably the best way to do this is to press B and Y at immediately after that, so we'll do that. Oh, okay, never mind. I was trying to get a dive. There we go. Just because maybe I could get ahead of him. Actually, I might still be able to. Oh! Okay, we did save it. Okay, so now we have to lead him by sliding all the way over to this. If you do it just right, you have to be in the right spot. You'll see, instead of missing, his body will actually land on that directly. It's a very particular star, though. Like, just like before, you literally have to go down the exact path. In case you didn't notice, if you are not ahead of him for a long enough time, you'll straight up, not get the star. It's definitely very tricky, and definitely has a lot of problems going for it. Okay, well, that's what I was actually trying to get from the beginning. I'm surprised I didn't get that earlier, but it is what it is. Okay. And, oh, okay, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm gonna go behind him and, oh, jeez. There we go, it worked. Perfect, what a great new body. Here, this is a present for you. It's sure to warm you up. Yeah. Ugh, probably the most annoying star in this level, by far. Okay then, we made it through this time. That's good. Which is all the stars in that level, so we can now move out of this area. But before we continue on, we're unfortunately also gonna have to end the episode just like that. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed this video, comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video when we continue Super Mario 3D All-Stars Super Mario 64 120 star walkthrough. Until then, bye.